got today. What else out of today? Where's the wine that soothes my mind?
Hey
Hi,
y'all.
everybody.
This is my mama. Is she cute? She's never done this before, so we're just winging it. She doesn't know what I'm going to ask, but we've talked about these things before, so you won't be too surprised.
The only thing that convinced me was edit.
Yeah.
was the ability to edit.
She likes that.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question, she just got her new smartphone a couple weeks ago. More than a couple weeks, like 6-8 weeks ago?
About that.
How do you like your smartphone, your first smartphone?
It was a little overwhelming departure from my flip phone that I was so devoted to because I like simplicity in my life and I don't have a lot of phone calls.
Or text messages?
No, I like to keep it simple. And if I have a lot to say, I'm not going to be typing when I could call you up, hear your voice, and we could laugh and get a little silly.
Mm-hmm.
But texting one letter at a time came a bit laborious. And I had received a fair amount of teasing about my archaic phone.
She had one of those phones that came in the plastic case on the rack. It was like $35. So just pick a phone and cut it out of the case.
It's a flip phone.
And it lasted for years.
And it served me well.
Yeah.
People half my age were telling me that it was archaic. And I said, well, in my time, a phone took calls and made calls. This one's doing it. And after I'd run the flip phone through a full washing cycle, something had to give. Either I went and bought another flip phone.
The reason she converted to a smartphone is because the flip phone ended up in the washing machine.
And I mean a full washing cycle. I didn't even know it was missing until I pulled out a piece of clothing that felt a little weighty. So I called Star and told her I had just killed my phone today. So the time has arrived that I've got to get in step.
Welcome to the galaxy.
Since I've been in California, I've gotten one-on-one tutorial, and my exclamations of, oh, wow, how cool. I know she's delighted in the fact that
she's copied and pasted.
Oh, yes.
She's got the Joann's app for the coupons at the store. You've figured out how to do your maps now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would urge anyone, especially if you get a phone that somebody's offering you and you don't have to make the investment to go on, bite the bullet. But be prepared to be very patient and open to learning things. I have become attached to it. Mm-hmm. And now that I've gotten rid of my landline as of November 8th, I'll have to be a little bit more attached to it because I won't be able to call it to say, where is my phone? Yes. And call it from the landline, which would be the only time I'd use the doggone landline to be my phone finder.
Who needs a landline?
But I understand there's some apps for phone finding.
Yes, but you have to have something to pull up the app on to find it.
You can't tell your phone to answer to a certain thing like clapping?
I don't know.
To activate?
Maybe.
We'll have to look into that. I might have just enlightened you about something.
Ready for the next question?
Yeah.
You're going to like it. We've talked about this one too.
Okay.
Out of the experiences and the years that you've lived, what is the biggest lesson that you take away?
The plus side, I've always known, but I've gotten really good at it because it helps lift me up when things don't go my way or I've got something to be blue about, and it is gratitude. I've been raised to be grateful because I was constantly reminded of people who had less than I did, and I should be happy this and that, and it started connecting when I got old enough to realize that not everybody had two sheets on their bed.
Right.
My mother worked at a juvenile detention center, and she would come home and tell me stories about kids. And it brought it closer to home and made me more mindful of how well off I was, even though we were by no means wealthy people. But my definition of wealth was fine-tuned by realizing that when our needs are met, anything beyond your needs is wealth. Because if you have all that you need, you're truly blessed.
Yes.
And it's the old one pair of shoes at a time, and having one car. And if you have two, you're wealthy.
It's wealthy.
Right. So what I learned when things got bad, and I knew that I had to pick myself up, was to count your blessings. Very simple. It's not something that you immediately think of doing when your heart is broken or you've been betrayed. But I got into the habit of telling myself, I feel so bad, I've got to think of something good to build on from here because I have to get up. I've got to feel good so that I can take care of things. So what I'd say is, even though I feel as bad as I do, I'm so glad that I have a home. I'm glad my children are well. I'm glad there's food to eat. I said, it's just, you can keep going. And when you get in the habit of that, I got so good at it that I might get up in the morning and say, what a fine day it is. Not necessarily if it was raining. I didn't go that far. But if I got out down to the garage and I turned the key and my 1999 camera started, I'd say, thank you. I'm so grateful. Because it could have been different. It could have gone, and then I got to call AAA and get my wallet out. So, notice I'm wearing my knot that my daughter taught me how to do my Alicia Keys.
I taught her how to do that.
Yes, and I was grateful for that. I said, I have something else to be grateful for.
On her list of blessings.
That even when my hair is a wreck, I could grab a pretty scarf, tie it up, and go. Yes. And I did thank her accordingly.
Yes, you did. Are we burning the sausage?
Pause. Edit.
What about the people that we talked about? What have you learned about people?
Okay, now we're talking negative.
Jersey.
My biggest disappointment in life is people. And that is, of course, on a case-by-case basis. I was asked 2 years ago when I turned 65, since it's a milestone birthday, a younger person asked me, well, now that you're 65, what has life taught you? And I said, well, you probably don't expect me to come out with something like this. I said, but it's taught me that for the most part, people are full of shit.
Say that louder.
For the most part, people are full of shit. And this was in the workplace, so I don't think she was prepared. But then I had a reputation for saying what I thought, but still maintaining diplomacy and not going overboard. But I explained it further that I've had friends that turned out not to be friends. I had husbands that, although they treated me well and we had a lot of good times, that there were disappointments that I was not prepared for. Promises broken, lies told, jealousy, a lot of bad stuff that came from a person that at one time you felt good to be around.
Yep.
You had some degree of trust in, and you cared about them, and then you found out that in large part the whole relationship was a lie. That hurts. It was important to me if I said something to someone that it had value and you knew that I meant it. And if there was something that we said we'd do or I would do, that I'll do it. And if something interferes with that promise, I will alert you that I'm not able to do that which I promised. I said, but a lot of people have gotten very cavalier about promises they make. It's just like wonk, 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 wonk. I'm hoping that some of you out there, when you get into your 60s, you may not have that opinion that that's what you've learned, but if
I'm in
you're
my 30s
wise,
and I already see it. People think I'm so mean.
But then
but it's true.
Maybe it's worthwhile to put into discussion. Don't be one of those people.
Don't be one of those people, but, I mean, for me, I almost expect it. Like, well, there it is. There's your true colors.
Now, that should not be.
I'm not walking around. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm just waiting for it to go wrong. But when it does, it's like, well, 95% of the population is full of shit anyway. That's just my percentage.
Well, that's what I found.
95%.
And over time, I've become less willing to let new people in my life so easily. Mm-hmm. Because you might have a connection and you're excited about this new friend and you try or you hope to build a friendship, but
because there's 5% that might make it. You gotta try.
Yes, but then the percentages could get even worse because you get
with time.
It's 5% of them may get your attention, but what I have found is that so many of them, as I've come to say, don't make the cut.
Yeah,
don't make the cut, and it sounds like you're superior. You feel you're superior.
It's your cut. They didn't make it. They might make somebody else's cut. Well, you see
signs reminiscent of experiences you had in the past. So it makes you feel like, this person's a little iffy and wishy-washy, or they might want to make friends with me because they don't have transportation, so they need a friend with a car. Mm-hmm. I don't feel a void because I don't have a lot of friends and my phone's not ringing off the hook. I tell Star that I don't lead an exciting life, but I lead a peaceful life.
Yes.
And I can seek excitement if I want it, but for the most part, I am very happy at home doing things that I want to do.
Yep. You're alone at home, but you're not lonely.
Not one bit.
No.
But then I never have been. I've lived alone before. Before I married your father, I lived alone, and I was comfortable with that. I kind of like my own company. I'm cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
Would you encourage people to have the parenting experience?
I've gotten real jaundiced about bringing kids into the world. Several reasons. There's so many perils, and it requires so much isolation to keep them safe. Mm-hmm. At least to my standards of child rearing. There's so many things that I wouldn't want them exposed to, but I'd have to compromise that because it's everywhere. So you instead have to move to preparing your kids for the negative stuff you'd rather shield them from, the negative people who don't raise their children the way you're doing, and you don't want them exposed to bad behavior, impolite behavior.
What did you do on long car rides?
I don't know if we used the tapes in
the
car.
What did you do for us, though, for long car rides?
Well, we would talk about things.
Mm-hmm. But like the trips to New York.
Oh, we didn't go that often to have a pattern, but I remember the first road trip we took, I thought it'd be a good idea to teach you how to read a map.
Yes.
So we took the atlas.
I'm so glad I could read a map. I have my atlas in my trunk.
Okay.
Just in case.
Now, of course, that was before GPS, well before GPS.
Yes.
But I incorporated that because I thought, with a fun thing, because it was a big car. What was that car?
Durango.
A Durango. And we had a couple of comforters back there. So that was your own little relaxed play space. Mm-hmm. And a flashlight. Mm-hmm. I said, now you guys will be the navigators. And did I highlight the trip?
I think we pretty much just drove 80 the whole way.
And I told them to we would stop, that it would tell you restaurants and gas stations, and in short order, you guys were into it.
Yes.
And would tell us what's
20
coming
miles we'll be at the such and such.
Right. And just with that activity, you learned something valuable. It was a lifetime tool.
Yes. And how the highways work with the even numbers and the odd.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
I didn't know that. So you taught me that.
Something.
Mm-hmm.
But Anyway, the original question
I don't
is,
remember long, boring rides.
I wasn't bored.
But then we didn't have to talk all the time either.
But that's the thing. Like I was asking because now people are like, oh, we've got movies and games, and each kid has their own iPad. Like, be bored and look out the window. Observe some things.
Just be. Sit and be quiet for a little while.
Hush up.
Right. Dream. Look out the window and let your mind wander.
Oh. Anyway, what do I know? So would you encourage everyone having children?
No, I would not. I don't think some people will devote themselves to it. And people have said to me, oh, it's so hard to raise children now. Now, I take that to mean because of all the outside forces that you would like to shield them from.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some of it is the unwillingness to do the work. They're not wind-up dolls. This stuff is constant.
Yeah.
And I said, I didn't find it difficult to raise 2 kids, but I found it constant.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a day off, but it gets easier if you start off by being a teacher. Correct your children lovingly as they make mistakes or do things that are not safe, not polite, all the stuff that you want them not to incorporate in how they present themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Being home with you for 5 years, that was my job. And I don't know if you would have had that one-on-one had I had to incorporate work daily into things, because I waited to have kids so that I could jump into it with both feet and not have distractions. I didn't have family, so it was me.
Exactly.
Right. And because I needed to have 2 little people that I wanted to be around, I was perfectly happy telling you, put that back, don't touch that. I didn't have to take the ashtrays and put them away because the kid was banging them on my coffee table.
No.
I would follow them around while they explored, and they would go for the ashtray, and I'd say, yeah, that's an ashtray. That's Mommy's, and she likes it right there. So we're going to leave that right there where Mommy wants it.
I remember that. The brass ashtray?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And you'd comprehend it, and you seem to accept the fact that that's the way it's because you had your things. Right.
Yes.
And I might have had to tell you once, twice, 3 times, but for the most part, I only put those things away that could do harm to you when try to avoid freak accidents.
Yeah.
But I taught you how to live in that house, not tear it up, respect my home. It had been mine for 9 years, and I'll be darned if this little person is going to come in here and turn this house upside down.
Nope.
So
we did not.
But when you're working all day and you come home, you may not be as inclined to want to discipline children. You just want some peace, some quiet, and some rest. Yeah. But every time you see them doing something, they walk in the sofa. I works too hard. We sit on sofas.
Get off my sofa.
Right. And you don't look the other way because you don't care what they do as long as they leave you alone. I see too much of that.
I agree.
Right. By the time you were 3 or 4, you and Robin listened well. You did what I asked you to do, and I could just give you a look, and you...
Yes.
And you got to hang out with me everywhere.
Yeah.
And I said I wanted kids that when people look through the peephole, they didn't say, oh, there she is with those bad kids. I wanted them to say, oh, it's Tony and the girls.
She brought the girls.
And then you'd go off somewhere with your little stuff so me and my friend could talk without going, Mommy.
Oh, my God.
No. If you called my name, I knew you must have wanted something.
Yeah.
And I'd stop and give you, what's up? What you need? You okay? And then you tell me what, and then I say, okay, you on back and play. We'll only be here about another hour or so, and you cool. You remember to watch when you get impatient?
No.
Like waiting in the doctor's office, my doctor's, waiting. Little kids get squirmy and impatient because they're not cut out for shopping and long waits. So you'd come over and say, how much longer? You'd have your head in my lap and you'd be like, oh, this is agony. So I'd give you the watch. I'd say, you see the watch?
Yeah, talk loud.
It's on the 5. It's 5:30. By the time the watch gets up to the 12, we'll be ready to go. And I might give you the watch so you can look at it.
Sit there and look at the watch.
And I tried to be true to my word.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd also remind you of things I do for you.
Yes.
We'd have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking too long. And I say, well, you know those times we're at the park and I say it's time to go home so I can fix dinner. And you say, oh, can we stay a little longer? I said, well, now it's your turn to be nice to Mom.
Yep.
Worked beautifully.
It did. That's
I
my mama.
Bored you all to death.
You didn't bore nobody. Everybody loves Mom. Okay, thanks, Mama.
That was politically correct.
Bye.
Bye.
She want a Cabernet. I want a Cabernet. Sauvignon gone as it flows away. Cabernet. She need a Cabernet. I need a Cabernet. Sauvignon gone as it flows away. 9 to 5, now my day is over.
Is that you? Oh, I thought you were. I was saying, girl, you carry so much gas. Fart more than your mom.
Oh my gosh.
But you always have. Your body has been good. Yeah, she'd be a little girl walking around. I said, that child gets rid of her gas.
Oh my God.
She feel like, I don't see no reason to carry this around. Go on.
Oh gosh. All right. So we're back after burning something.
Burn a banana. You gonna tell them what we did? I did? No, don't.
Okay.
That's clutter.
All right.
That's clutter.
I won't.
It's King Green.